at here is how to do the definition of a derivative with radicals and with fractions, and it's very similar to what we did with limits in earlier lessons. So remember, when we find a derivative, we're using this formula right here, talking about f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x, and we want the limit as that goes to 0. So, just like before, I'm just going to plug in for these functions. F of x plus delta x means I'm just plugging in x plus delta x in place of x in that function. Then minus the function itself all over delta x. Now, when we did limits and we had radicals, what we did in previous lessons was we would multiply, and we would multiply by the conjugate. So the exact same thing up top, but instead of this minus, it's now a plus on top. We do the exact same thing on the bottom. X plus delta x plus the square root of x there. Now, when we multiply this, what's going to happen? Well, let's not do pink. What happens here is we're going to have still the limit as delta x approaches 0. When we FOIL this, when you multiply the first ones out, the square roots cancel out, and I'm just left with x plus delta x. When I multiply the last ones out, I'm going to have minus, square root of x times square root of x is just x. And what happens in between, the middle, the inners, and the outers, one's positive, one's negative, they just cancel each other out. So all I have on the top, and on the bottom, we're going to leave it in a factored form. Delta x times this entire part. X plus delta x plus square root of x in parentheses. So as you probably noticed, the x's are going to cancel out, and that leaves us with, here, the limit as delta x approaches 0 of, we have delta x up top, we have delta x times this crap of the square root of x plus delta x plus square root of x. And again, you notice, as expected, the delta x's cancel out. That means now that they've canceled out, I can plug in 0 for delta x. So I can plug in 0 here. So that means I'm going to have, when that canceled out, all I have left is 1 up top. I have the square root of x plus 0 now, which is just the square root of x, plus the square root of x. So I have 2 square roots of x on the bottom. 1 over 2 times the square root of x, and you can just leave it, your answer, just like so. So that's how you do square roots. Here's an example for fractions. Again, same thing. Start with that same formula. What we're going to do here, same idea. Toughest part is just plugging in. So wherever I see an x, it's now x plus delta x. Wherever I see, well, this is still f of x, so I just rewrite it as so. And now delta x. Again, the key here is trying to almost ignoring that denominator for a second. Look just at this top part and say, what is my common denominator from just that? So we'll do that first. My common denominator is going to be this product. Common denominator is going to be x plus delta x times x. That's the common denominator I need to get. So I'll rewrite the limit as delta x approaches 0. To make this x times x plus delta x, I need to multiply this top by x. Same with this part. To get it to be x times x plus delta x, I need to multiply the top by x plus delta x. It's still all over delta x. Again, when we have a delta x in the denominator, I can kind of bring it up into the numerator's denominator. And now I can kind of combine my fractions up top as well. My numerator now is 2x minus this whole thing. Minus 2 times x plus delta x all over. I have an x plus delta x, and now I'm bringing this delta x up to give me a delta x there. When I simplify this top, this is now going to become 2x minus a delta x. My bottom is going to stay the exact same. X times x plus delta x times the delta x. And this is still, I'm taking the limit. I have not taken my limit yet. So, as you've again noticed, I have things canceling out. That leaves me with just a negative delta x up top, which means that negative delta x is going to cancel out with the delta x factor on the bottom. So that means now what my limit looks like. I still have a negative 1 up top. Don't forget that negative sign. That's important. Over x times x plus delta x. Now I'm allowed to plug in. I'll plug in 0 here. So what do I have left? Just negative 1 up top. X plus 0 is just x, so I have x times x, which is x squared, as my answer there. And of course, I even noticed that I had a mistake here. So let's go back, of course. When I distributed this 2 here, this should become a minus 2 delta x. So this should be minus 2 up top. So your final answer should have to be negative 2 over x squared. Same idea. Again, one little mistake can mess up the algebra, so make sure you're paying attention. All right, I would say now to pause the video and see if you are able to solve these equations on your own. When you're ready to check them, go ahead and hit play again. All right, again, start with what you know for both of them, your same limit definition for the derivative, and plug in what we need to find out. So, still the limit as delta x approaches 0. When I plug in f of x plus delta x, it's just now instead of x minus 4, it's x plus delta x, then minus 4. Then minus the function itself, x minus 4 under the square root, all over delta x scope. Now I need to multiply this by the conjugate. So, square root of x plus delta x minus 4, and then now plus my square root of x minus 4 as I run out of room here. And then my denominator is the same thing, square root of x plus delta x minus 4 plus the square root of x minus 4. What I'll do now is I will do that multiplication, and what's going to happen here is the square roots are going to cancel out in both these terms when I FOIL it, and my bottom, or my middle two terms are going to also both just cancel each other out. So I'll be left with just what's under the radical, x plus delta x minus 4, and I'll be left with a minus the whole thing of x minus 4, and on the bottom, delta x times this entire quantity, square root of x plus delta x minus 4, and then plus that square root of x minus 4, all in parentheses. So you've done the toughest part, now it's just time to simplify. So, when I simplify here up top, I'm going to distribute that negative. All this stays the same up top. Distribute the negative, so now it's a negative x and a plus 4. My bottom here, delta x times still all this radical garbage, minus 4, plus the square root of x minus 4 here. And like normal, things should start to cancel out. Again, the f of x part, like before, this part at the end should cancel out. The x and the minus x, the minus 4 and the plus 4. That leaves me with just delta x up top. Well, when that's my only factor up top, and I have a factor of it on the bottom, they can cancel out as well. So I'm left with the limit. As delta x approaches 0, I have just 1 up top, and I have this factor of x plus delta x minus 4 in a square root, and then plus x minus 4 in another square root. And my last step is to now plug in delta x approaching 0, so this part becomes 0. So now, I've plugged in, I'm no longer taking a limit anymore. I have 1 over the square root of x minus 4 plus another square root of x minus 4. So my answer is 1 over 2 square roots of x minus 4. Very similar, as you probably noticed, to the last problem, or to the example on the previous page. All right, this one with the fraction. Same idea. Where I see an x, it's now x plus delta x. So it's x plus delta x up top, x plus delta x minus 2 on the bottom, minus my f of x, which is x over x minus 2, the whole thing over delta x. Again, my common denominator here should be x plus delta x minus 2 times x minus 2. And that's what I need to make sure I end up getting. So, the limit as delta x approaches 0, it was x plus delta x over x plus delta x minus 2. But now my common denominator needs to have also a x minus 2. So I need to put that up top as well, x minus 2. Minus. I had an x up top, I had an x minus 2 on the bottom. I need to include now an x plus delta x minus 2. So it means I need to include that up top as well, x plus delta x minus 2. And this is still all over my delta x. And like I said before, I'm going to take this delta x and put it into that denominator. So let's try to simplify all this garbage. Delta x approaching 0. I'm going to do a couple steps here. Let's FOIL this through. That'll become x squared plus, I'll have a, excuse me, an x delta x. I'm also going to have a minus 2x and a minus 2 delta x. So that's from the first step. In this one here, when I factor through that negative x, I'll have a minus x squared, I'll have a minus x delta x, and I'll have a plus 2x when I distribute this through and distribute that negative there with it. And then my denominator is going to be, I'm going to have a delta x from the bottom, and I'm going to have these other two factors, and the x minus 2 and the x plus delta x minus 2. Again, now, as we've done all of our simplifying, things should cancel out. A negative x squared and a positive x squared. I have an x delta x and a negative delta x. And I have a 2x and a negative 2x. So all I'm left with up top is a negative 2 delta x. On the bottom, delta x, x minus 2, x plus delta x minus 2. I'm still taking the limit as delta x approaches 0. Things should cancel. The delta x's do. So that leaves me with, now the limit as delta x approaches 0, I have negative 2 on top. I have x minus 2. And I have x, well, let's rewrite this where you have room. Try that again. Negative 2 up top. I have an x minus 2. And I have an x plus delta x minus 2 on the bottom. So again, I'm going to plug in delta x equaling 0. So now I'm no longer taking the limit. Negative 2 over x minus 2 times x minus 2. Or I could have written that as 2 over x minus 2, that quantity squared. So there you have it. Everything you need to know about doing the limit definition for square roots and fractions, and you're really going to hate me even more when you see the shortcut for these. Have a good day.